The folks on the right, a lot of them are using the same MAGA, America First, national identity argument to actually try and disconnect from Israel. And a lot of people on the left are like, great, isn't it great that Tucker Carlson and all these folks are on our side now? And I'm like, I'm not sure. They're not on our side for the same reasons. We're on our side because we care about Palestinian human rights and dignity and self-determination, not because of national identity, Christian national, and therefore Muslims and Jews have no role in America.
I am a Reva and I was taught how to pray Salah.
That means every single time I pray,
the person who taught me gets the reward.
5 times a day, from Fajr to Isha.
If you want to support someone like me in learning Salah,
then sponsor 10 people for just £100.
Remember the Prophet, peace be upon him, said,
charity does not decrease wealth. Click the button and donate now.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. If you're watching this video and it's Salah time, please pause it and go pray and come back when you're done. Please check out the description section of this video to support the channel. I came across a clip of Mehdi Hassan calling out Tucker Carlson as well as others on the right-wing side of the political spectrum in regards to their intentions when it comes to the Palestine crisis. Most of the time I do find myself agreeing with Mehdi Hassan, but this time around I was somewhat indifferent to his take because Tucker Carlson's efforts in exposing the Israeli government have been so valuable in enlightening millions of people to the truth. Personally, with the way things are going, I think we need voices like Tucker Carlson just as much as we need voices like Mehdi Hassan. In fact, I would love to see them sit down and have a conversation about Palestine, discussing their mutual crossover views, as it would no doubt go viral and by default help the Palestinian cause. So to see Mehdi Hassan reject this unifying factor and potential opportunity to form a powerful alliance against a common enemy and much greater evil was counterproductive in my opinion. Let's watch the clip.
For me, what's so astonishing is we spent decades building a post-war, quote-unquote, rules-based order, which as a lefty, I was far from happy with. Right. A deeply flawed system. But we had some kind of system. A UN Security Council, a Geneva Conventions, International Court of Justice, an International Criminal Court, which America didn't sign up to, but most of the world did. And all of that has been burned down in the interest of protecting one nation, one government, one prime minister. Gaza is a tragedy and a horror show, perhaps the worst of our lifetime. Good luck to any Western government ever lecturing another government about human rights, the international repercussions of Gaza and what it's done to international law and the Geneva Convention and human rights groups, all of whom have been discredited. Every dictator in the world will say, I can bomb hospitals, Israel did. I can ignore human rights groups, Israel did. I can keep foreign journalists out, Israel did. All those precedents. Democratically, it has exposed the United States' democratic dysfunction. Big majorities of Democrats saying ceasefire now, restrict arms to Israel. And that is not reflected in Congress at all. At what point does that become intolerable? At what point do people wake up and say, we're just not represented here by the people in power? And that's on the Republican side too, by the way, John. You're seeing Republicans under the age of 50 rapidly turning on Israel. I had a claim on Gaza. I said Trump's plan for Gaza is ethnic cleansing. A lot of those white supremacists refuse to come up and debate me on that. Why? Because they're anti-Israel. And they're not anti-Israel because they care about the Palestinian people. They're anti-Israel because of the people in Israel. Right? There's a massive anti-Semitic streak on the right. Sure. What's interesting is how it's being mainstreamed through Gaza. And this is why I say to Jewish friends of mine who are supporters of Israel, be careful of the alliances you make. The folks on the right, a lot of them are using the same MAGA, America First, national identity argument to actually try and disconnect from Israel. And a lot of people on the left are like, great, isn't it great that Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene and all these folks are on our side now? And I'm like, I'm not sure I want them on our side because they're not on our side for the same reasons. Like, that's right. We're on our side because we care about Palestinian human rights and dignity and self-determination, not because we're anti-Jewish or anti-Semitic. Unfortunately, a lot of these younger MAGA supporters are driven by this idea of national identity, Christian national, and therefore Muslims and Jews have no role in America. And I would say this, when the pro-Israel lobby is canceling people, getting people fired, pressuring members of Congress, supporting people like Randy Fine from Florida who says, yeah, let them starve. Let's nuke Gaza. My point being is a lot of these, Trump MAGA folks are like, well, we don't want Israel controlling our politics. We don't want these Jews telling us what to do. There's a dangerous trend there, there's so many different fallouts and threads from Gaza. And I think that is one of them that a lot of people aren't paying enough attention to.
Firstly, Mehdi correctly acknowledged that the majority of the people on the left, as well as many on the right, are against how the Israeli regime have made a complete farce of international law and all human rights-based rules, setting tyrannical global precedents, as well as how Western governments have betrayed us by ignoring people from across the political spectrum who are adamant that funding and arms supplies to Israel stop and something be done to ensure a ceasefire. As Mehdi said, the situation in Gaza is the most horrific horrific tragedy of our lifetime. But on the back of Mehdi's statement, I would also pose the question to him, shouldn't we then prioritise the Gaza issue above our personal political alliances? What was confusing to me was how after making these valid points and acknowledging this consensus across the left and the right, Mehdi could stereotype Tucker Carlson in with white supremacists and anti-Semites. I've previously criticised Tucker's past stances on Islam and Muslims, but after he apologised for those views and shifted his perspective, I support his work exposing Israel, because at the end of the day it benefits the Palestinian people. Mehdi is an intelligent guy, so it's unfair of him to stereotype everyone on the right like this, especially when we consider how blurred the political lines have become. For example, on one side we see Trump supporting far-right Islamophobes like Tommy Robinson that are vehemently pro-Israel, or Trump supporting far-right Muslims like Andrew Tate that are pro-Palestine. And to make it even more nuanced, you have ethno-Christian nationalists like Nick Fuentes that are anti-Israel, anti-Islam, anti-Trump, and has beef with Tucker Carlson. I think we can safely say those three are grifters, but I don't put Tucker in the same category. To be fair, I think Mehdi was also making reference to some of the nutcases he debated on the Jubilee platform. However, to not distinguish between them and Tucker Carlson, who's not an ethno-nationalist as he speaks up for Christians in Palestine, or an anti-Semite, which he has made clear, is not accurate. Furthermore, to label people anti-Semitic for exposing the problem of Jewish supremacy, which would apply more to someone like Dan Bilzerian than Tucker Carlson, is again unfair of Mehdi. We need people that are brave enough to call these things out, as they are a true reflection of not only the current Israeli government, but an alarmingly large number of people in Israeli society, as well as Zionists across the world. Many pro-Palestinian Jewish people are also calling this out, as they don't want Zionism to represent them. Let's be honest, we need all the help we can get, so I personally welcome the American First crowd, and anyone for that matter calling for justice for Palestine. As a practicing Muslim, I'm pretty conservative in my views. However, I will acknowledge on the Gaza situation, I see more consistency across the board on the left, which I respect. There's a million things we can nitpick at to divide us. For instance, I follow Sunni Islam, and Mehdi is a Shia Muslim, yet we align on Palestine. Tucker Carlson is an America First Christian, whereas I put my religion before my culture or country, yet we align on Palestine. I've interviewed right-wing nationalists, liberals, communists, atheists, Orthodox Jewish rabbis, and once again we all align on Palestine. My point is that at this critical moment in time, it's futile to bicker over the small details when we have such a dangerous, malevolent force threatening world peace. If we were to be on the same page against these Zionist elites, it would be in our best interest collectively, and once we've banished that dragon, somewhere later down the road we can concentrate on working out our differences. Thank you for watching. Until next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah.